members are expected to attend the meeting. It's hijacking the meeting. Yeah, already. Board members expected to attend meeting in person unless they have a disability or an extraordinary circumstance. So we have J.C. Bridwell, our co-chair, who is has a disability just for today. Excused members and members of the public will still be able to participate virtually. And Jessie, Janine, do we have anybody online who is participating virtually?
Let me see. We have a few. Let me bring Steve and Renee on. Do you want me to bring them over?
No, I'm just talking about the committee members.
Just the committee members, Janine. I think it's just I see Charlie.
I'm also here.
Charlie's here.
Okay. Oh, you're in the room, Charlie. Oh, all right.
He's counting twice. He's just messing you with the vote. And Jan is here. Okay. So members who are joining by Zoom must leave their camera on. And the meeting is streaming live on YouTube channel, and the transcript is being recorded. And it's very difficult to talk and hear if you are opening food. Very distracting. Okay, so we will start by.
What are the sandwiches?
Just let me know when you're finished setting up the food.
Chaos in there.
If you want to open any food, just open it now. Because I can't hear it. My ear is. Okay. Done? Done? Okay, open it. I'm serious, open it now.
No.
Because I don't want to hear it.
No, we're gonna wait for later.
Later on, I'm just going to stop. Okay, all right, so our first item agenda is requesting a status and participation in the state DOT study of 9A. And we are very fortunate to have a representative from our board president. So if you want to stand up here and tell your name and tell us, because there is nothing else.
Okay. Hi.
Give us a little bit of background because a lot of people were not.
Okay, yep, sure.
Thank you.
My name is Jessie. I'm the transportation policy analyst at the Borough President's Office. And I was invited here to give an update, I think from our perspective, about where things stand on 9A. So last year, our office made a call for taking a lane of traffic of 9A below 59th Street to be a dedicated bike lane. The thinking is that it's very high traffic. I'm sure that a lot of you have found that either it's pedestrians or bicyclists. We need more space for those users. In addition, because e-bikes are not allowed in the Hudson River Park section of the Greenway, this could also serve as additional space that could be for faster cyclists and e-cyclists and delivery workers, etc. So after we initially released that plan, we didn't hear anything for a little while until this spring. And then spring of this year, the State Department of Transportation announced that they would be doing a study of Route 9A in the Hudson River Park, and what alternate uses there could be, what expansion of the Greenway. And then after that was initially announced, they initially had announced that they would be starting the study in summer of 2024. We didn't hear anything for a little while, so we sent a letter that CB4 signed on to, as well as CB2 and CB1. Those are the relevant community boards that intersect with this part of the of 9A. And basically we just asked for an update to say, hey, what's going on? What can you tell us about this study? And some of our priorities for the study are that we want to, see an analysis of, taking the lane of traffic. We aren't necessarily saying it needs to be on either the east or west, north or southbound side of the road. It's really, we're hoping that the DOT will study both, scenarios. And we also asked them to do a more holistic look at the, coastal resiliency needs of the park, because I'm sure you all know that there have been various scattered attempts to look at, what are like the flood risks and resiliency needs for various parts of the park, but we haven't seen anything comprehensive yet, and so this is a really good opportunity for the state to do it. And finally, we said that the state DOT should engage with the community boards as they're doing the study, and you all are some of the local knowledge who are visiting the Greenway frequently and know what its needs are and what the priorities should be, and we should have a say in what direction this takes and what their recommendations are. So we heard about a month ago, we got a response from the state DOT, and they told us that they were starting the study in the coming weeks. They were not specific about what that meant, but they did tell us that they would be doing outreach to local groups, including community boards, as they start working on the study. As far as I know, your community board has not heard anything. I'm aware that they were invited to the meeting tonight, but either weren't able to make it or you didn't hear from them. But it is still very much our hope that they will reach out to you, and at this point, it might be time for another nudge to see where things are and when they plan on reaching out and starting this in earnest. So happy to answer any questions if you have any. Yeah. Sure.
Have you reached out to the, our local electeds, the state senator, state assemblyman, and the governor's office? Have you?
So we have been in touch with the governor's office about this, and they've really been the ones working closely with the state DOT since, sort of their administration. I know that Senator Kavanaugh's office is really interested in seeing what happens with this, and we have heard from other state electeds that they are interested in knowing what happens and continuing to see the progress, but we haven't specifically done any specific calls to action or work with them.
So if we send a letter, we will CC your contacts at the governor and maybe our local electeds and things like that.
I think that would be
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Welcome.
Alan.
Thank you, Jessica. I believe that Senator Bowling Seagal has requested traffic study also.
That was before that.
There, Bill,
That was before that. That was in 2020,
Yeah,
and it was completed.
yeah. Well, he
okay.
completed one in 1992. I thought it was another bill in Albany that put in the mistake. Okay, so is the Borough President also just concerned with adding a bike lane? Is he concerned with other aspects of the route between 59 and going south that we can make suggestions to?
So we're hoping that the study will be really a holistic one. As I mentioned in the letter, we focused on bicycle access as well as the coastal resiliency and the flood mitigation that's needed. But really, we would like to see solutions that benefit all users, drivers, pedestrians, and cyclists. And that's, from our understanding, the state DOT study is looking at or planning to look at all of those users in their evaluation.
So in that sense, can I make two suggestions? Since we have community part on the line also. I was at the K97 opening yesterday. And I live in Chelsea, picked the bus up at 10th Avenue, go up to 57th Street, and walk down 57th Street, thinking that I was gonna walk across the highway. And lo and behold, you can't get across the highway.
not there.
And not there. I understand that because before it was the sanitation was there, but they didn't want people to. So I think that is something that really needs to be looked at quickly, because people will start using that park. A lot of folks don't realize that you need to go around and to follow up on Charlie's view of 55th Street, Bay Street, which is a little bit of a conundrum, having that access, a pedestrian access going in there would be very helpful.
So this would be a crossing from the left side.
There should be a pedestrian crossing there. I mean, they do stop, and let the traffic go left and right, you know,
Yeah.
57.
Yeah.
The other thing is we have a very bad congestion problem down at Chelsea Piers.
Mhm.
And it involves 3 roadways,
Mhm.
you know, 11th Avenue, Route 9,
Yeah.
and yeah, so,
Yeah. Yeah, so that section of the roadway will certainly be included in the study, and my hope is that they look at the congestion situation there, because you're right, like I bike down there all the time, and there's cars like pulling in and out, and you don't really know what's happening, and it's confusing for everybody that's trying to access that part of the park.
we'll certainly hit DOT up at the end of the road.
Yeah.
Jesse, I just want to say thanks for pushing this, and to the borough president for pushing this, and my 10-year-old is riding his own 24-inch bike down the Greenway quite a bit these days, and I would love it if the e-bikes would be in their own dedicated lane, which I'll go in when I'm on my Citi Bike, but I think it, you know, we really have vastly different uses of that bike lane, and having more space is such a great idea.
Yeah, to follow on what Alan was saying is that there are a number of intersections. The crossings, I mean, I think we did a little study of the crossings last year, right? Or 2
As
years
part of that
ago.
capstone study.
The capstone
Yeah.
study, right, on saying, okay, we have intersection, they are a problem, people are not crossing to go to the park, etc. But we also have congestion on the Chelsea side because of the traffic timing and the signal, etc. And we have written 1 or 2 letters about that, so that we would love that to be part of it. And we were a little nervous about participating because the last time New York State did a study with Brad Ullman, they essentially did 14th Street and down,
Oh, okay.
and nothing for us.
Yeah.
And so we want to stay on top of saying, hey, we need to be part of it, and we need to have, and so whatever you learn, if you could share with us on timing or whatever, that would be great.
Yeah, I know that the commitment they made is for 59th Street and below,
Right.
so we should be included, and all the things that you've mentioned about.
Should be brought up, right?
Yeah, like, I mean, you have the knowledge from your past study that you've done, and also just from knowing, these pain points in the greenways.
We just want the process to be open at the beginning, because the last time they came back and they say, okay, this is what we did, and we said, not good enough, right?
Yeah, we will continue brushing for you to be.
Okay. Okay, well, this is terrific, thank you so much. I don't know whether we want to write a letter to the New York State DOT and say, hey, we have a number of issues and we want definitely to be part of the outreach. Maybe,
I think
right?
that's just appropriate.
Okay. All right, so we write a simple letter, just saying we are excited, but we want to be part of the outreach at the beginning of the outreach, because we have a lot of different issues to address, right?
Well, thanks for your support.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much, sure. So do we have a
I have a motion.
motion and a vote?
I second it.
Motion
Okay,
made right away.
vote. Okay, good. Jesse, you okay with that? Okay.
And Jose, we have someone in the attendees that wants to speak. 2 people,
Oh, I'm sorry. I do that every time.
Renee and Angelique.
Hello, Renee? Renee, here's Renee. unmute yourself, Renee, so that we can hear you.
I wanted to speak about the $5 Citi Bike.
Okay, later on, we'll call you.
Yes, it's not this issue that I'm here for. Thank you very much.
Sure. And who else is, raise your hand for this issue, which is the, anybody? No?
Gonna be Steve, Florence, and Bonnie.
Who?
Steve, Florence, and Bonnie.
Wait, I'm worried that people are getting confused. Are people please just raise your hand if you just want to speak on this particular issue, which is a traffic study on the West Side Highway. If you don't want to speak on that, please put your hand down, because I know that there are a number of people online who are here to speak on the Citi Bike issue, and we will absolutely hear from everyone. But thank you. Yeah. So I'm just seeing Steve's hand still up, and now Mary's hand just on this issue. Okay.
You need
What
to,
is that?
you can't, if you decline to be panelist, you won't be able to speak. You have to accept.
I don't see these people on the screen.
If they're coming over, they were just declining. Okay.
And Renee, we'll move you back out so that you're not just awkwardly sitting on screen. Thanks, Renee.
Steve, unmute yourself, please.
Okay, there you go. It's Steve Noring. As part of this study, can you hear me now?
Yes.
As part of this study, can we ask about enforcement and what enforcement is actually happening? So when they do their study, what happens is they don't look at how things are being enforced. So they're going to count the number of bicycles. They're going to look at the number of motorcycles. They're going to look at, they're going to count. I don't know what they're doing in their study because I don't know what's in scope. But one of the things I want to find out is how much enforcement there is being done on the current paths. What is?
Well, that's a different question, because the enforcement on the current pass is under, yeah. We'll ask that question if you want, but it's a very different question, because I don't know that there is a cooperation between the park and the Greenway and the New York State DOT.
Mm-hmm. Okay, it's just one of the things I would like to know, how much enforcement is being done on the current bike paths. So as we expand bike paths, which I'm all in favor of, I don't think that they're increasing the amount of enforcement, and that's one of my concerns. And so when it's not studied, if they're going to do a study, let's just look at how many tickets were handed out or how many bicycles were confiscated as part of the process of enforcing the current rules.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm not sure. Who's that, Mary? Are you next? You have to unmute yourself. Mary, can you hear us?
Hi.
We can hear you. Great.
Okay, wonderful. On when you're doing the studies, I was just down there myself last weekend trying to cross, and the group of us trying to cross to get to the Greenway, it is really dangerous.
Right.
We had to cross one street, go over, go around. Just in the studies, I was just saying, to pedestrian crossing, if that could be a focus in the studies of trying to safely get across to the Greenway.
Yeah.
Because, that I would like that to be one of the focus. That's why I just wanted to say, trying to get there this past weekend was really horrendous.
We understand, and you're right. So we'll make sure this is one of the topics.
Well, thank you.
And who else?
All of them.
Who else is wants to speak?
Mary Bakris was brought over. She had her hand up.
Okay, Mary, can you unmute so that we can hear you?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to reiterate the what the gentleman said about enforcement. I think enforcement is very important because the e-bike situation is so crazy right now that if you're not doing a study of enforcement, it's not going to help you because people are so egregious in their riding of those bicycles.
Okay, we'll make
So
sure.
I just am corroborating what the other gentleman said. That's all.
Great,
Thank you, Mary.
thank you. So if we have, these were very good comments, if we have, so we have voted on that. We're not going to put those concerns into, well, we may want to touch on them in the study, in the text of the letter. And add some other things that we had discussed in the past. But crossing and enforcement definitely, and you know. So we can move to the second.
Can I quickly say something? I think the enforcement is the major issue. I got hit extremely badly. I actually took a picture of the person who hit me coming from the wrong side. And at the police station, showed it to them. What the answer was? We cannot do anything about it. And that's actually exactly what the problem is. And there was actually, I believe it was a DOT person right at the location, who I walked up to and said, please stop. And he said, I can't do anything more. I can't.
So I think we have two different issues here, because this one is New York State DOT, and the state DOT is enforcing that. So that's with the state DOT, what resources
No,
we are.
regardless of where it's going, the enforcement is pretty much an issue with e-bikes.
No, I'm getting there. What I'm saying is if the e-bikes are on the Greenway, it's New York State DOT. It's not New York City DOT. And then we all understand we have an enforcement across the board, and maybe we should write another letter about enforcement, inviting NYPD to come here and discuss what they are doing, right? Maybe that's a subject we should put on the table.
Point of information.
Wait.
Point of information.
Alan was.
It's actually Parks Department that
Right.
controls the Greenway and the bike.
Parks. Well, oh, so this is another.
It's not state DOT. it's
Okay.
not
All right.
NYPD will come in if there's a problem, you know,
Right.
if there's a 911 call, but they don't necessarily.
But I don't understand. I thought the Greenway was New York State DOT.
It's New York State, but the park maintains the Greenway, and they have a contract with PET
Right.
to do the patrolling on the walkway and the Greenway.
So maybe we should do in the future, invite the Parks Department.
New York
discuss-
State Parks Department. It's not New York City.
It's New York City.
But there's New York State Parks Department police monitoring,
Right, but
because they
is,
were giving tickets out, there was problems, people were complaining to.
okay, we'll ask the question. We don't have to resolve it. We don't have to resolve it right now. We'll ask the question, the office, Janine will research and figure the right people. And we'll have these people come in and we'll have a discussion, okay?
Good.
All right, next subject, intercity bus permit for Gunther Charter on 12th Avenue. Do we have someone from Gunther Charter? Janine?
Let me see. Yeah, Andrew's on. Oh, Tom Bannister is on. I'll bring him over.
Okay. Yeah. Tom, can you unmute yourself?
Hi, I'm Tom Bannister. I'm with Gunther Charters in Andover, Maryland.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi, I'm sorry. This is my first board meeting.
Okay, but it's not your first Zoom meeting, right?
No.
Okay.
Tom, are you able to put yourself on camera? That would be great, usually for president. If
Yeah,
not, it's
sure.
okay. If you're able to, we'd appreciate it.
What? This is you. You have to decide to put your camera on.
No, it's Tom. Here he goes. Thank you,
Here we
Tom.
go. Okay. So I think everybody read your application, one bus going to 12th Avenue. Is the stop on 12th Avenue or on 30th Street?
It's between 29th and 30th on 12th Avenue.
Okay. The only concern I have is that this is exactly the place where the Gateway project is going in. And I'm concerned that there are going to be a lot of construction going on there. So Colleen, you guys need to reach out with the Gateway program and find out whether this location will have construction or not.
Okay, I mean, I'm sorry, which gateway program is this are you talking about?
Gateway construction, which is the tunnel under the Hudson.
Okay,
And the tunnel under the Hudson is coming up right there. The whole construction is on essentially on the 29th Street block.
mm-hmm.
And it's also under the highway and going through the other side. So
Okay.
I don't know how much this side of the block is going to be available. But they are starting the construction now, so it's a concern.
Okay.
My recommendation would be to go to your alternate location, which is 230, which is closer to 42nd Street, right, Tom?
Oh, actually, it's just the other side of 30th Street.
Okay, so there is another one, 280, which was closer to.
I don't have the map in front of me.
You have listed two options. Do you have your list in front of you?
Right. Yeah, the first one was the first alternate was 230, which is between 27th and 28th. That sounds like it's worse.
Well, I don't know whether it's worse between 27 and 28.
Would it be possible? I'm sorry, go ahead.
It may be okay, as long as, you know, the DOT checks with Gateway and see exactly what portion of the sidewalk they are going to use.
I believe right now at this point, the stop that I'm requesting would be shared with Adventure Tours, who also works for our bus for the New York commute.
It's possible, but it's also possible that it will be relocated.
Correct, I understand that.
Okay, I don't have a problem personally. I mean, the location is fine with us, but I just don't want you to get a location and then, you know, in 1 week.
Well, that's fine. I mean, this location has been in use for quite a while. We've been doing it for a little while with them with Adventures. I don't have a problem with this location change if it has to happen for everyone. That I can deal with the location change by a block or two.
Okay. Well, we'll send a recommendation subject to review with Gateway program.
Okay, that's perfect.
Anybody has a problem with that? We're good with that? So that's it. I think that's fine. Do I have a motion? Good. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
So from the public, I want to speak.
Do we have anybody from the public? I do it again. Do we have anybody?
No, there's no hands.
Okay, good. One day I'll learn how to do that. So thank you so much, Tom. This is all.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay. All right, our third item is on, and this one I'm not going to forget the public. Transportation alternative as a proposal for a discount rate for young riders on Citi Bike. And I'm going to turn to this person to make the presentation. Who is here for transportation alternatives?
Me. I'll be giving the presentation along with another youth committee member.
Okay. So far, go ahead. Show us your face. That's better.
If you're able to turn on your camera, we'd appreciate it. And it looks like Mary, who's your co-presenter? Is it
Kyler?
Yeah.
Yep, great.
Guys here, and so far, please, turn on your camera.
I apologize. I am having camera issues, but I won't let that diminish my presentation.
Okay.
So go ahead, take it away.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Hello, Manhattan CB4. Thank you for giving us this platform to speak on. My name is Christopher Rosario, and I'm a sophomore attending Bronx Engineering and Technology Academy.
And my name is Kaide Nardi. I attend the Brooklyn Urban Garden School. And we are here to explain why students deserve better transportation options and how $5 Citi Bike memberships can make a difference. Earlier this year, the newly formed Transportation Alternatives Youth Activist Committee embarked on our first citywide initiative, Bike More, advocating for the expansion of the $5 per month membership programs to all New York City DOE and CUNY students, ages 16 and older. The purpose of our campaign is to advocate for improved transportation solutions that cater to students' needs. In this presentation, we will be discussing the need for this program, its benefits, and how we've been engaging with the community. We'll also be addressing any relative concerns and questions towards the end of the presentation, so please hold all questions until then.
Now, I know we've all experienced train or bus delays. As a student who relies on public transit every day, I've learned to factor in extra time for unexpected delays. But it's not just about being late. It's about the precious sleep, breakfast, or study time I sacrifice to ensure I arrive on time. Leaving 30 minutes early has become the norm, but it's exhausting. I've lost count of how many times I've had to skip breakfast or rush out the door without finishing my morning routine. Students in Community Board 11 often have to go through the same thing because it has the slowest bus speeds in the city. Community Board 4 is ranked number 59 out of 59 community boards in terms of bus speeds according to Spatial Equity NYC. Unfortunately, trains and buses are the most affordable and accessible forms of transit, which is why we all deal with these challenges. But there's another option that stands just beyond the fingertips of most students: biking. With bikes, you just gear up and start pedaling. You don't need to worry about a passenger holding the doors or getting stuck behind a taxi. But bikes aren't exactly cheap, and the lack of secure storage at home or at school isn't an incentive to buy one.
The current Citi Bike membership model doesn't make it any easier. At $220 per year, paid in one lump sum, it's a significant expense that's out of reach for many students like us. The upfront cost can be a major barrier, especially for those living on tight budgets. According to the recent CUNY report, half of CUNY students come from households with incomes less than $30,000. Similarly, 70% of students served by NYC public schools are reported to be economically disadvantaged during the 2022 to 2023 school year. For us, finding the extra $220 for a bike membership can be a daunting task. That's why affordable bike share programs like the $5 Citi Bike campaign is essential. By offering a discounted membership rate, we can make biking a viable option for students who need it most, without breaking the bank. By making Citi Bike more affordable for NYC students, we can empower them to take control over their daily commutes, reduce financial stress, and focus on their academic and personal goals. It's a simple yet powerful way to promote mobility, equity, and opportunity for all. Beyond the economic case for expanding student access to Citi Bike, there are several other benefits to promoting biking as a viable option for students. According to numerous studies, such as the one done by the National Institute of Health, as little as 20 to 30 minutes of daily exercise is correlated to improved physical and mental health. These benefits aren't only related to health. 60% of Citi Bike users report feeling more energized and alert after cycling, which could lead to better focus and concentration in class. By making Citi Bikes more affordable, this campaign would create a more sustainable, equitable, and healthy transportation for all students.
To give you better insight into our campaign strategy, I've outlined our campaign milestones and what we hope to accomplish by early 2025. In February 2024, we launched our campaign at Vision Zero Youth Day. Since March 2024, we've been actively canvassing and engaging in grassroots outreach to gather over 880 signatures of support from NYC residents. During the summer, we focused on connecting with over 80 schools and community organizations to build our letter of support. This fall, we'll be making our rounds to deliver presentations to all the community boards in the Citi Bike Zone. Finally, in January 2025, we plan to meet with the Citi Bike Equity team to show them the widespread support we've gathered and formally present our proposal for the $5 a month Citi Bike membership for students.
Here are some anticipated questions we've encountered regarding providing eligibility, safety, and funding for our campaign.
In terms of providing eligibility, we propose a verification system for students to access their memberships using a unique code that their schools could give them.
To address safety concerns, we propose implementing measures such as helmet distribution, bike safety workshops, education programs, and partnering with local organizations, as well as collaborating with DOE, CUNY, and DOT on these proposals. These initiatives will educate students on safe biking practices and provide them with necessary resources to navigate heavy traffic.
To make this initiative a reality, we'll need secure funding. Mayor Eric Adams made a promise during his candidacy to find public funds to subsidize Citi Bike, but has failed to maintain his pledge. As of right now, we're exploring subsidy options to work around this, but we believe the long-term benefits to students' health, academic performance, and environmental sustainability definitely outweigh the costs. And with that, we just want to conclude with a few takeaways from this presentation.
1. Students deserve better and more affordable transportation options.
2. It is feasible to reduce the price of Citi Bike memberships.
And 3. The benefits of doing so outweigh the risks.
Thank you for considering our proposal. The Youth Activists Committee urges you to pass our resolution and join the movement for affordable, sustainable, and accessible student transit. Together, let's gear up for progress and create a brighter future for our students. Ride with us and support our resolution today.
Thank you. Thank you. Very good presentation. So what I'd like to do is do a first round of questions only, not comments, right? So do you have any question?
Yeah.
Not comments.
I ride every day, that's not common. So this is gonna be two questions. Is this gonna be similar to like the old fashioned bus train passes for the students? And second question, will this also include the electric Citi Bikes? Because you ride the regular
That's the question.
Okay, because the regular Citi Bikes is like riding peanut butter.
We got the question.
So electric, yeah, and thank you guys.
Okay.
Good. Did you hear the questions?
Yeah.
Yes.
Will be in addition to the train and bus passes. And yes, it will include electric bikes.
Okay. Any other question? Yes.
How much could this cost? Like dollar figure?
Did you hear that? What would it cost?
What would it cost?
Yeah,
Yeah, like what would be the
like your
budget
subscription,
ask
your
from-
subscription would cost how much? Today it's $220, it would be reduced to what?
It would be.
Like how much would it cost the city to subsidize?
Oh.
the difference?
Well, the city's not involved with.
Yes, they want to see.
Well, they want them to.
They want added.
Yeah, that's
They want public funding for, yeah. So, go ahead.
Yeah, so can you answer that? What would be the cost the first year, for example, for the city?
We're not entirely sure, but we're not just asking the city, we're also looking for other other organizations to subsidize this program.
Okay. Yes,
Thank you for that presentation. I believe you mentioned something about an education program. Could you speak on that? Is it, ready to go? Who's gonna do it? How many hours is it involved, for that? Who's gonna
Well,
be running?
Well, we are reaching out to the Citi Bike equity team in the future. So we are going to work on a curriculum with them, and they're going to help us flesh out this curriculum. But we are in the process of making it and fleshing it out.
Who's gonna run the program?
That was hard to hear, but I think it was who was going to run the program.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
I think the question was who would run the program of
the training.
of education. We heard about safety workshops. So who's leading that? Is that from each school is doing that? Is that a DOT thing? Is that Citi Bike?
Yes, we'd like to partner with the DOE on that to facilitate these programs. I mean, education programs.
Okay.
Okay, Jesse, you have your hands up.
My question is similar along those lines. Also, your safety bullet point you mentioned. First of all, thank you very much for the presentation. Great job. But you did briefly touch on safety, and one of the points, right, was safety courses. But the other one was, you said distribution of helmets. If you could just talk a little bit more about that, what you're envisioning, and if you're expecting that to be also funded by this same program, which I imagine you are.
Yes, so we have partnered up with Bike New York, and they do a lot of helmet distribution, and we are partnering up with a lot of nonprofit organizations who could potentially help with helmet distribution.
Got it. And are you envisioning a policy or program by which if you enroll in a year-long Citi Bike membership for $5, you are also given a helmet with that, or is that, or are you just focused on making helmets more available? Are you thinking about making it a requirement to pick up a helmet when you sign up for this, or are you not there yet?
We are not there yet, but we would like to make helmets more available for students.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, yes, Tina.
Just for clarity, are you?
Make it loud.
Sorry, just for clarity, are you advocating this program on behalf of just the public school, high school students? Or does it go further? Are you considering including private school, for example?
We're only looking at public schools and CUNYs.
Okay. So I have a question about the age. You are saying, what would be the starting age for this program?
16 plus.
16 plus.
That's the minimum age to ride Citi Bike.
That you can.
You can't have a Citi Bike membership if you're under 16. So 16 is where it starts.
Okay, so 16 is already
It's the
established.
minimum.
It's already an established.
Correct.
Bottom there.
Correct.
Okay. All right, so why don't we hear from the public? And maybe we're going to start with the public who is in the room.
Hey, Christine, real quick, we have about 30 attendees who want to speak on this. So do we want to set any kind of time limit?
Yes,
at the
yes.
outset?
Absolutely, we want to set a minute. It will be limited to 1 minute, because if you all speak, it's going to be 30 minutes. So please try to contain what you are saying into 1 minute.
Thank you.
Okay,
Please stand up, come up and tell us. And who is Jesse? Are you doing the clock?
Yes, I will do the clock, no problem.
Please, thank you.
No problem.
Good evening, Community Board 4. I am a Community Board resident. I have a question: what makes New York City, gives us a character? What makes it great? And I would say it's walkability. Its walkability is being challenged right now by this $5 proposal. On my way walking, just minding my own business, I see bikes, mopeds, e-bikes, e-scooters, breaking all the traffic laws, going every which way, not stopping at stop signs. I implore Community Go Forward to vote against this proposal. I have nothing against the teens, but the adults right now aren't following the traffic rules. If the adults are not following it, the teens are not going to follow it. So I urge Community Forward to vote against that. And I want to give a special shout out to Transportation Alternative. I would like to expose Transportation Alternative as a self-interest lobbyist. As such, they are pushing their own agenda and they're not considering the safety of pedestrians.
Okay.
That's time. Thank you very much. Thank you.
If people have the same topic, they want to say the same thing, please don't repeat them. Just tell us same thing as the person before. You are on the, yes.
My name is Patricia Hannum.
You have to come up front so that people can hear you on that speaker.
I was asked to come and tell my story about my accident, but I will go beyond that. I have 11 grandchildren. And I have 4 of them who are high school students. We are a biking family. This whole thing, if there are not rules and regulations for this, I'm exposed in my neighborhood in Park Slope, and I have a issue with my city council person. There have to be rules and regulations. These kids need to get licenses. They can't drive until they're 18. How can they be riding e-bikes? Probably regular bikes would be fine, but the e-bikes, I literally was nearly taken out. I was thrown 10 feet by an e-bike onto my face 2.5 months ago. I'm broken here. I will never be able to smile again. And it was 2 young kids racing on their e-bikes. I got in their way. They went through a red light. They literally hit me and threw me 10 feet. So I've been in ERs, I've been, and I'm on Medicare, so who's gonna pay for my dental work? Nobody. The point is, these kids are reckless. They are zooming around in the street. They're racing. And this was at 10:30 at night. 2 kids who could not have been over 15 had taken their parents' car. So the police are on this. I have a police report.
That's a minute, just so you know. Thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Okay, so now let's go through the the people which are on the screen. And Janine, can you start to move them up? Maybe 2 or 3 by 3.
Florence is over, and I'm bringing Mary and Andrew over next. Florence?
Florence, unmute yourself. Florence, you want to?
Did you say Florence?
Yes, I did say Florence. That was my intention.
That's me, and
Go ahead, Florence. Yeah.
I'll try not to repeat what others have said, although it's hard because the issues are the issues. I too was hit by a bike and broke my wrist. And so, of course, that alerted me in a strong way to the situation on the streets. The situation on the streets are chaotic. On the streets, in the roadways, there is no enforcement. And to consider expanding the use of bicycles, e-bikes in particular, e-scooters, whatever electric vehicles, without first setting up some rules and regulations is, pardon the expression, ass backwards. I don't know why you don't start with enforcing what we have on the roads now, which is a big mess, instead of adding more bikes. Adding more bikes will not make it safer. I've heard that from transportation alternative people before. Use of bikes has increased, but safety has not increased. So adding yet more and younger people is not going to be the answer.
Thank
One
you,
other point.
Florence.
Can I just make this quick point?
Sure.
The dissatisfaction with the subway, and the buses not riding on time. We need funding for the MTA. And instead of diverting money from the city to subsidize Citi Bike and transportation alternative, we should be putting the money into MTA to make it better so kids can get to school on time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Florence. Appreciate it.
Who's next? Is this Mary?
Hello?
Yes.
Bye,
Hi.
Mary.
Well, there's just 2 points that they were talking about, that it's not going to be all inclusive. They're just going to start with SUNY and city schools. One, it should be all inclusive, but also most people walk distractedly. They're walking with their phones. And I've seen numerous people on these e-bikes riding a bike and using a phone. We talk about driving distractedly, but we're asking teenagers to now take the responsibility of being on an e-bike, which we see now because they're using them anyhow, and they're riding it distractedly. So that's a big concern. To go ahead with the program to lower the age to 16 to use these and to make it more affordable. I understand the necessary for that, but there are also a lot of repercussions for that, as has been mentioned. But also that to just have a program that's going to be inclusive of only some groups, but not all.
That's a minute. Thank you so much, Mary.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mary. Where was Andrew? Unmute yourself.
Okay, you got me?
Yep.
Yes.
Go ahead, Andrew.
Thank you so much. I just think the whole idea, I mean, I was a 16-year-old boy at one point, and believe me, I was reckless. I was invincible. The last thing I would need at 16 years old is to be an unlicensed, motorized bicyclist going 20 miles an hour with no helmet. I have no idea what you guys are thinking about not requiring helmets of children. And they are easily the most irresponsible riders of all riders out there. At the end of the day, this is just another effort by transportation alternatives and their donors being Lyft, DoorDash, and Uber to keep the roads from private car ownership and to promote the indoctrination of children to take their bikes. And the reality is they could easily buy their own bike, actually get exercise, and not be on an e-bike, which is wreaking havoc on everybody else out there. We need a pedestrian. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you. Janine, the next three people.
Ron Wisniewski.
Oh, Ron, yes.
Hey, how you guys?
Hey, Ron.
How are you?
Go ahead.
I associate myself with everything everybody has said so far, and I would like to add that we've already, as far as subsidizing this little program, we've already given Citi Bike a monopoly on public land, apply their trade. We've given them infrastructure with the aesthetically unpleasing bike lanes, and we've given them a monopoly. And now the thing is that if you try to navigate a street in New York, you're going to get knocked down. Now it's getting worse every day. And to add kids out there is really irresponsible. And it's about the safety of these kids. So no more subsidy, that's for sure. We need that money to hire more police to enforce existing laws to stop the chaos that exists because of these bikes in the first place. Thanks. Good to see you all.
Thank you so much. Good to see you too.
Before the next person, I just wanted to ask a question. So you are saying that, Charlie, that today people can go, anybody who is over 16 can go and rent an e-bike.
Yeah, any 16-year-old can have a Citi Bike membership. It's $220 a year, which is about $18 a month. And this presentation is we could lower that to $5 a month.
Right. So this is essentially an existing program, except for the aspect of making it more affordable.
It's providing a discount.
Because I'm just hearing a lot of comments here, which seem to be saying we cannot allow that, and you know, and I don't want to make a judgment on that. I'm just saying the program is already there, and there is an issue about funding for a reduction of that. So Renee, go ahead. Now that I'm clear.
I think, well, I was run over by an e-bike and I spent a long time hospitalized. I've had many surgeries, but I am alive and I'm here to tell you about it. E-bikes are to bikes as military music is to music. They are completely different. They are heavier, they are harder to stop. They can inflict grievous injuries, as I can attest. I'm also a former teenager, as everybody else is here. And I can tell you that as a former teenager, I would not have trusted me with anything. Yes, they have access to it now, but why give them easier access? That's nuts. As it is, no one observes any of our traffic rules. It is dangerous to cross the streets. And I don't want to see any more young kids out there with e-bikes. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Renee.
Steve?
Thank you. I just want to suggest perhaps three things that we ask of Citi Bike and of this proposal. If you're going to have a reduction in the cost, which I think is good for students, I would ask that they only be allowed to use bikes, city bikes that are the blue bikes that are not power or e-assisted. That way it's a little bit safer and they have to pedal. And if they want exercise, they'll get more exercise. I would also ask that Citi Bike be required to enforce the rules of the road. And so when people are biking fast, when people are biking the wrong way, they can track them by GPS. They know where their bicycles are, that they are forced to enforce it. And when the Citi Bike rider is not obeying the rules, you take away their privileges to ride. I think that would help to reinforce it and let the app actually mandate that they have restrictions. And the third thing is that it would be required to have a helmet. I can't imagine that you would allow a child to get on a bicycle without a helmet, and you see them all the time. So those are three things I think that would be modest proposals, or to this plan.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Steve. Who is next? Christopher. Christopher is next.
The presenter. Mary's next.
Who?
We're gonna move to
Mary backwards.
Oh, Mary backwards. Yes, Mary. Go ahead. Unmute yourself.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. For some reason my camera isn't working, but as a former teacher, I would just like to say that I think that this idea is misguided. We already have too many young people on the streets in heavy city bikes and in electric city bikes that pedal assist city bikes that are not wearing helmets and are not following the rules of the road. And if you have to have a driver's license to run in any kind of vehicle like a moped or anything else, a license you need to have a license to run that kind of vehicle. Teenagers think they're invincible. They will do exactly what the adults are doing. They will be on their phones and they will be more distracted even than the adults are. And I'm just saying that as a teacher, and I'm not trying to put down students. I was a high school teacher and I love them dearly. However, it's dangerous to be a pedestrian now. And I think that this idea is misguided.
Okay, Mary. Is the next person Carrie? Carrie. Unmute yourself. Here you go.
Hi, I'm unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Hi, first very quick shout out, not to be included in my 1 minute. Christine, thank you. And Jesse, we had some success with Worldwide Plaza. I think you know that. So thank you for that. Okay, thumbs up. Moving on to this. All right, everyone, I appreciate that students want to have quick transportation. They already do receive the Omni passes. It is free. The subway is free to them, several rides a week. We already subsidize that. I don't think a subsidy of e-bikes is essential. Point number two, very important. To the gentleman that says that e-bikes are allowed for 16-year-olds, that's actually not true. The last time I spoke with the Citi Bike call center in Nicaragua, you have to have a driver's license. And in order to have a driver's license in this city, you cannot drive a car being 16. You have to be accompanied by a parent. So, Christine, you might want to check that fact with Citi Bike. It is not 16. You have to have a driver's license to ride an e-Citi Bike. It is not happening, however, because kids are using their parents' passes or they're popping the bikes out. Any idea like this right now is unconscionable because the streets are dangerous, as we know. Kids will go fast. It is just the part and parcel of getting on an exciting bike. I'm a cyclist. I love going. Thank you. And just finishing up, I think this needs to be reworked and rethought. TA and DOT, stop pushing it. Stop pushing your agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie.
Okay, we got Sandy next. Unmute.
Okay, good evening. As an 80-year-old, I want to speak for a silenced demographic in New York City, old folks like me. I'm here to tell you about the fear we have of merely being pedestrians in our city, just the simple act of walking. I also know the bike lobby wants taxpayers like me to fund unhelmeted, unlicensed, underage kids to be able to ride in and among cars and traffic. And yes, mix it up with pedestrians like me on sidewalks. So I am here to say that when the overwhelming failure of even adult e-bikers, allegedly responsible as adults, have victimized and killed pedestrians on public streets, on sidewalks, on crosswalks, flouting traffic lights, disregarding laws, and even common courtesy, Why does anyone think that a child should be incentivized to take to the streets on a motorized vehicle on a $5 a month e-bike? Why? Transportation alternatives and the co-opted New York City's deference to Citi Bike is embarrassing. They may think it's a great idea, but I think it's a death wish, not only for me, but for the further encouragement, if I may just finish the sentence. But I think it's a death wish, not only for me, but for the further encouragement of children invited to hop on. Will everyone just have to take their chances because it's a $5 bargain? Is that what a life is worth? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mary, I got you, but Jaya was first.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Hey, thank you. I just want to say, as a CB4 resident, that I think this is a great proposal, and I think students can already have a Citi Bike membership. I think this is a good way to make more sustainable choices available to them. It doesn't require any of them to ride a bike, just makes it more accessible. And I think that's a great pattern. We should do more. I would love to see a similar program to make it available for all city employees too. So I think it's just a good pattern to set. And I think that's all I have to say. So thank you.
Thank you, Jaya. Mary, can you unmute yourself? Mary Alford, can you unmute yourself? Oh, no, we have Judy Paulson.
Mary. Yeah, let's go with Judy.
Judy Paulson, yes.
Yes, hi. I just wanted to say briefly that I agree strongly with everything Andrew Fine said, everything that Steve said, and what Sandy said about it's too dangerous to walk in the streets as it is. Those points have already been made. I would just like to be able to walk to the grocery store without being run over by a bike, and we don't need more of them, especially folks that have no good role model for how to ride a bike. So thanks, everybody, and I agree with those former panelists. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy. Janine, can you bring over 3 or 4 more people?
There's no more hands aside from Mary.
Yeah.
Say that again?
There's no more hands. Oh, wait, Jackie's coming over, sorry.
Okay.
Mary, if you still want to speak, unmute yourself. You're okay.
Jackie, unmute yourself, please.
Hi,
Yes.
I don't know if you can see or hear me or both.
Yep,
Yes.
go ahead, both. Go ahead.
Okay, so I too agree with what has been said by Andrew and Sandy and others. I think it is really, really scary to think of young people riding electric bikes when the adults who are currently riding them do not obey the rules of the road. I cannot imagine that the kids would be obeying the rules of the road without any role models. I think the idea is ridiculous and dangerous. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Jackie.
Mary, one more time, last time. So
Mary,
that's it.
Going once, going twice. All right. I think that's it for Mary.
All right. That was.
Yeah. Christine, do we want to give our presenters a chance to respond first before we talk, or do we want to? Yeah.
Yes.
So the to our 2 presenters, Christopher and Kate, you just heard a lot for 25 minutes, but we do want to give you a chance to respond to anything you heard. Obviously, no need, you can't address everyone's point, but if there's a few things, anything you'd like to add to your presentation based on what you just heard, now would be the time to do so. That's for our 2 presenters, Christopher and Kate.
Yeah, can I say something?
Yep.
Safety is definitely a valid concern. Transportation Alternatives has actually fought for implementing like safer bike infrastructure, like the recently approved Bedford Avenue protected bike lane in Brooklyn. We have campaigns in place already to make streets safer. And I believe like transportation alternatives as a whole believe, like we believe that our campaign will help increase the demand for safer bike infrastructure in the future if there are multiple students that are like, say, like you want Citi Bikes.
Okay. And Katie, you have anything to say?
I would like to say that, building on to Chris's, what he said, we completely understand about all the concerns that you guys have. I do want to say that, that our primary goal is to make sure that kids do have helmets and enforce that. So,
Okay. All right, so now let's have a little bit of a discussion here.
I just want to make one point of
Yes.
fact. I researched it. You do not have to have a driver's license to, you can be 55 years old without a license and ride Citi Bike. It's a
Right.
bike, it's not a car. So
Right.
one of the speakers seemed confident in that, but from Googling, it's not the case.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, quickly sort of talk about it. I'm a lifelong bike rider. I still ride my bicycle practically 5 days a week now. I used to do it every single day. I used to commute on my bike from my office downtown. I don't need to do that anymore. So I actually ride my bike every, like 5 days, 12 miles to 15 miles and back. Anyway, when I make noise, I ride my bike through the city. I wear a helmet, and I'm actually extremely sort of law-abiding sort of citizen. I love the idea of giving students a discount. I teach at CUNY as an adjunct faculty, just for the joy of my life. And I really want to support this, but I think it should come with conditions. 16 years of age is absolutely fine. I don't have a major significant problem with that. I actually even learned riding a bicycle while I was much younger than that. And I used to ride to school on my bicycle, but that wasn't an e-bike. This being an e-bike, I think it becomes even more important to have some rules in place. So if we want to approve some sort of discounted approach for Citi Bikes and e-bikes in particular, I think some rules should be put in place. For example, one gentleman said, much more nice than what I'm saying, the helmets following the rules, some enforcement of some kind should be in place. But there are many people in Chelsea, particularly, and even in House Kitchen, who are much older and weak more often than not. And I have seen this happen even before it happened to me personally. And I'm a very, very vigilant walker. And I was walking to a Citi board meeting, and I got hit by an e-bike that was coming at 18 miles. And I didn't even look at it because I wasn't expecting anyone coming in from that side. So with all due respect for all the bikers on the planet, I think we must approve this, I think, in some ways, but at the same time, not without conditions. And those conditions could be, I don't know who they could be for, but it could be for Citi Bike or DOT or whoever is going to sort of enforce those conditions when they approve of any such request for e-bikes. Or alternatively, this discount applies only to non-e-bike situation.
Yeah. Oh. Alan, and I'll come back to you.
Well, I would certainly have to agree with the comments that were made about how these e-bikes are being used. And living across the street from a bike ride, from a Citi Bike ride, sometimes I look out the window and I just look at, younger folks, 2 on a bike, sometimes 3 on a bike. So, it never really dawned on me in terms of, I think they're just kids having fun, but it is a problem. Personally, I don't think we're ready to agree or not agree on this. I think the program needs to be fleshed out a little bit more. I think we need to see what the education program is, what's going on. I would give young folks some credit that maybe they can change the culture of biking that has been, prevalent at this point. I think they have an opportunity to show the adults what it is to be a citizen and be concerned with other people's use of the streets. So I would say, I would think we need to rush into a vote to approve it or not approve it. And I think they need to come back with a real program as to what the education is, how many hours, what they have to do, just a whole lot of things. It was a nice presentation. I think Transportation Authority, if they were running this presentation, they failed to meet a certain bar in terms of giving us information as to how this is going to run out.
I totally agree with what has been said.
Okay.
I do want to emphasize, though, I think I would have come to this. I would have been more open just hearing about bikes. I actually do not have a great feeling when I hear about e-bikes, given all the injuries, given all the complaints. I will be much more positive if it would be limited to bikes. But I also feel like I think there has to be a lot more work. I don't feel like I have enough information from the stakeholders.
Couple comments. I don't know how to answer this, but I would love to know if there's some data on like injuries for e-bikes versus regular bikes, given that I don't know. I know that if someone gets hit by an e-bike, they always tell you it's an e-bike, but people are getting hit by regular bikes, and that has been an issue in the city for, and as long as you have bikes, maybe a little more, that's the number of bike riders, well, you get riders has increased. But I think you can get injured by a regular bike too, which is not, any bikes, like top speed is maybe 3 to 5 miles an hour faster than when you get a regular bike, but it's not, to be heavier, I'm not sure, but I would be kind of curious, what the safety benefits of allowing or not allowing e-bikes, like just in terms of the actual rates of injury. I do think what people do by e-bike, they're like especially outraged. They're like, it's an e-bike, but it's not necessarily like if they were hit, they could also be hit by a bike too, and like with the same effect. I do think it, like, although this presentation did not have, like, I would have also liked a little more detail. I mean, as I asked the question about like how much it would cost the city, which I think is a relevant detail. And I would love to know more about that. I don't think it would be cheap. I did some little like back of the envelope math, and it's like if 20% of high schools took this up, it would be $6 million a year, which is assuming they would subsidize the full $13 difference per month, from 5 to 18. And that's like I'm not thinking out the numbers like accurate. I just an example of like, but all that said, like this is not a vote to be like we're doing this. This is like we're generally in support of the idea, and the community board frequently says like we are in support of concept or of study. We just talk about the bike lane or the like along 9A. We don't know the details of how that works, and the details are important. They could have just moved it in a good way or in a terrible way, probably, but we can totally say like we support this as a concept. We want to, the next step is to study more and think, and maybe do think about what kind of rules and regulations would make the bike safer. And what e-bike policies there should be around e-bikes, maybe or whatever. But I don't think we need to be like this isn't a standard that we generally apply, that we have to be confident in every detail. We can vote to support the project and say, and we also think these things should be studied or considered. And then lastly, I will say I do find the economic aspect pretty compelling here. Like to me, that's the most compelling aspect of this proposal. There are many students in New York for whom $18 a month is like just not feasible for them, or is a huge expense. And those are like, those are people who are most in need of getting to school in the fastest, most convenient way. It's not people who, if their other option would be to drive or have their parents drop them off, it's people whose other option is to, take two or three subways or all kinds of things that are, not great, to take away time from sleeping or from their studies or whatever. And I think, and given that this is already available to 16-year-olds who have $220 a year, I find the economic aspect of this the most compelling. Like, it just seems fair. Like, it does, like, there are students getting can really be expensive for people. Many students do not live near their school. And the subway and the bus, like, I would like them to be better, but realistically, $6 million a year could help a lot more people probably on bikes than the fact that it's like one subway elevator. So I do find the economic aspect of this actually fairly, I find that to be the most compelling. It's something I want to talk about in the letter.
Okay, yes.
Hi guys, you did a great job on your presentation, thank you. I wanted to let you know, in case you were not aware, that there is currently a reduced program now, and it's literally labeled Equity on Two Wheels. And it is $5 per month with no annual commitments. That's available for residents of NYCHA, NCHA, and HHA programs, also for those who are on SNAP recipients. It is no commitment. It offers unlimited classic 45-minute classic rides. It does not include the e-bikes. So as you're retweaking your presentation after hearing about all the concerns that have expressed on e-bikes, perhaps this is something of a model you can utilize as you refine your pitch and rethink your proposal for us. That's all, thanks.
I think when you read their resolution, they are talking about those programs, and they are saying that essentially they want to expand it to more students.
Yes, but they were asking for e-bikes and theirs, business
Right.
e-bikes, that's the difference.
Yes. You were, yes.
A lot of people have mentioned e-bikes. I ride the e-bikes every day. There's a mechanism which you can't go certain, it will not let you go faster. In fact, I get to work equal time with the e-bike than I do as when I take my road bike. It's the same amount of time. It's an easier ride, but there's I don't know what the technical word for it, but that mechanism prevents you from going too fast on the city bikes. I can't speak to the electric city bikes. I can't speak for the private or non-public e-bikes. That's a whole different thing. Do you want us to discuss what we want to put in the letter now, or hold off on that?
Well, hold off on that, yeah, just give me your different, the sense of things. So where
My
are
sense,
you?
okay, sense is maybe we can, if we do this, maybe do it in a pilot program, and also maybe Bike New York, in order to qualify, you have to take the free training from Bike New York or something like that with the helmet. Charles will probably refine it better than I will. He's more eloquent, but that's like some of my ideas.
Okay. I see Jesse, you have your hand up.
I do. Thank you. Thank you again for the presentation, and for everyone who joined online to give their thoughts on this as well. I do think I first of all, I agree that, I don't think we're ready to vote up or down on this particular, proposal without, giving some suggestions for where they maybe can take it. But I think the thing that, this makes me realize is sort of that it really is a good opportunity, at least, to have a conversation around bike and bike culture, and how the, tens of thousands of students who are growing up in our city are learning to navigate our streets and promote safe bike culture. And so, I do think this should really be paired with not, a required, so I'm just thinking of how many high school students don't get their driver's license because they don't need it. Right. And so maybe they never take driver's ed, maybe they never learn the rules of the road with a car. But what an opportunity we can have with a program like this to teach all of our high school students how to safely ride a bike and ride a bike in our streets and follow the rules of our streets, and that there will be consequences for not following the rules of our streets, not wearing a helmet. And so, you know, anything. I actually think it's a really good proposal to get kids biking and healthy. And I do think if Citi Bike is already available to 16-year-old plus, you know, I am also you know, open to the idea of, well, you know, money shouldn't be a barrier for you being able to access our Citi Bikes. But at the same time, you know, I just do think that it should really become with a strict requirement of you know, a significant training course and helmets. And I think it's it's a broader, it's an opportunity for a broader conversation around getting all of our high schoolers up to speed, if you will, on what we want out of our bikers. Because as what is becoming clear is, whether we like it or not, you know, we are a pedestrian city, and we are rapidly becoming a more bike-friendly city too. And proposals like this will push forward a better and safer bike infrastructure. And if we are doing that, then we also need to be having conversations around bike culture and making sure that our bikers, especially those who are literally growing up in our city, can promote a safe bike culture as well. And so I think that should be all part of this. And so and for me, at least, any proposal that would subsidize Citi Bike for our youth should include a significant training requirement, a class, or at least a long online tutorial at the minimum. And those are my comments.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to Katie and Christopher for the presentation. It's always nice to see high school students showing up at a community board meeting like this and sharing a presentation like this. I think that was excellent. Just to address a couple of things from our discussion and members of the public, cost was brought up. Who's going to pay for this? Like, I hope Lyft would pay for it. I mean, you know, it's one of those things. It doesn't really cost them more money to have more people using the system. So I would hope that you would get Lyft on board, and the city wouldn't be on the hook for paying the difference. That Lyft would pay the difference, because they know when people graduate high school, they'll be lifelong Citi Bike members, and it benefits Lyft. To clarify Alice's point, the NYCHA member $5 deal, which they're proposing to expand, does not include free e-bikes, because no one gets free e-bikes. Even if you're a member and you pay $18 a month, $220 a year, you don't get free e-bikes. You have to pay a certain number, you know, 20 cents a minute for an e-bike. So I looked it up, it's 12 cents a minute under the NYCHA plan. So no one, you would still be incentivized to get a blue bike and not a white bike, because the blue bike would be free for 45 minutes under this plan, and the e-bikes would be 12 cents a minute. Another thing I wanted to clarify is that the DOE already is required to teach students about biking. They don't do it, but there's a city law that was passed.
Yes, by Eric Butcher.
Right, and I don't know if they're doing it yet,
Right.
but that, I completely agree with what.
I think that should be paired with that.
Yeah, what Jesse and others have said, you know, obviously a lot, you know, my children, maybe they'll never get a driver's license. That'd be fantastic if they lived near me their whole life and rode a bike all the time like I do. But we should have that education, just as in the suburbs, we need driver's ed. And there was so much comments from the public about enforcement and lack of enforcement. And I think it's a huge problem. If we have no enforcement on our streets, the NYPD parks all over our sidewalks and drives in our bike lane, and they don't enforce any motorist behavior or any cyclist behavior. And man, we'd all love to see it. And I think a lot of these disagreements that, you know, these factions, the so-called bike lobby and the so-called bike lash folks would be, I think we'd live in a lot more harmony if there's enforcement. We all want enforcement. But I think that's not particularly relevant to giving a discount to young public school kids to ride a bike. And the other thing I wanted to say is there was a kind of a discussion of, well, why don't they ride the subway? Or why don't we put this money towards the subway? Well, hopefully we'll put congestion pricing money towards the subway, and that'll fix that. But I wanted to point out that a lot of people live really far away from their public schools. We don't have neighborhood middle schools, and we don't have neighborhood high schools. We have neighborhood elementary schools. But starting next year, my kid's gonna be in 6th grade, and he's gonna have to go quite a bit of distance, because there's no middle school in Hell's Kitchen. And a lot of people who live further out in the boroughs, they don't live near public transportation. So they have to bike to the train, or take a bus to a train, or take 3 trains. And so Citi Bike can be part of a public transportation solution where you're biking 10 minutes to get to the train. So it's not really an either or. But I'm generally in support of giving high school and middle school and CUNY kids a break. I do agree that, what a lot of the other board members have said about pairing this with education, and getting a little more details than were made available by the presentation tonight.
Can I just make a quick comment? I think you're right, and I do agree. Like I said, I'm a lifelong biker, I'm a road bike. When it comes to e-bike, that's what it's like, we have to make a distinction between which bike we can subsidize. If you want to subsidize e-bike, then it has to come with a set of requirements that we have to follow. Very quickly, to your question, I have data here in front of me. In the last couple of years, 250,000 emergency room visits and 215 deaths.
But compared to regular, that's my question.
Only in NYC. I'm not even looking at statewide data.
It means
My question-
compared to the normal
E-bikes and
bike.
regular bikes.
E-bikes.
Yeah, e-bikes are regular
E-bikes.
bikes.
It's only e-bikes. And
Right,
it's
but my
important
question
that
is comparative.
Yeah, and
No, I
also
don't.
we know that those numbers are not perfect because you show up to NYPD and they tell you forget about it. I mean, so it's very difficult to rely on this data.
Yeah.
Again, because NYPD is not doing their job, they should be saying, okay, you've been hit, here it is, let's write,
A lot of us doesn't get reported either. People could get hit and they just walk away.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I know.
That's just the tip of the iceberg.
Right.
That's what I mean, genuinely curious, because, for example, with cars, people talk about like certain types of cars demonstrably
yeah,
typically have
yeah,
much higher
right.
injury rates versus. And I just like e-bikes are heavier. They
Yeah,
don't actually go much faster. Like when you calculate you.
well, we don't have the information yet, let's
Like,
not,
it's not-
let's not imagine, I don't think we have the data as far as the difference between the two, I'll research
Yeah,
that.
that's why I'm curious.
So I don't know, my thought is, what I'm hearing is that we need a lot more information before we can, opine on that. And there are some good things as an idea, right? The financial is a good thing. There are a lot of concerns about a lot of, are we going to have the training? Are we going to have the helmets? Are you going to have all of that? And until we have more detail, it's difficult to make, so we could write a letter to them saying, we encourage you to give us all these details.
Right.
Okay, what are you going to do about this and about that and about that and about that? And, once we have all these details, we possibly, we will reevaluate the project. And,
But one more quick thing, this kind of discount would potentially increase the volume in terms of number of people.
Yes.
Riding e-bikes. I don't know if they have some sort of way of assessing that, what that might be. Because that would kind of also important, because how many e-bikes will increase being ridden in New York City along the bike path?
they had that in the presentation, they had that in the text. You should look at the text, I don't recall exactly, but I think that's what I'm hearing, and, a lot of discomfort. Not necessarily driven by this program, but by the current state of affairs. Which is, where is the enforcement and where are the rules? Yeah, so I mean, that's something we should put in the letter, saying if, as Charlie says, if we had enforcement, we probably wouldn't have all these conflicts between the different groups.
One thing I want to highlight, that the electric Citi Bike has a mechanism where it can't go past a certain speed.
What is it?
I don't.
It's limited, it's quite limited.
Yeah.
It's 18 now.
It's 18 now,
It used
which
to be
is pretty
25.
high,
There must be
They
some.
put them on cars in the seventies, it didn't work out too well.
right?
But the fact that it's
But that's if that's your own car.
limited to not including e-bikes sort of says something. I mean,
Well, I think the model of the NYCHA is probably a better model. It would be interesting to have more detail about that program and see how does it work.
It's pretty straightforward, it's just, it's a regular Citi Bike membership, it's just
That's it.
$5 instead of 18.
Right.
Because no one gets the e-bike.
But there
for
is
free.
no training and there is no helmet and
But-
there is none of those.
and there's no e-bike.
One point I want to make about the limiting though, is that if you arrive at a Citi Bike station and there's only white bikes, now they've changed it where you don't get a free white bike, you get it with low assist. So you choose on the app, ride at full speed or lowest, and lowest is for free or spend money for. So they have the ability to change, to adjust. So, I mean, I think that could maybe be reasonable that someone who is under the age of 18 or 21 or whatever might be decided could only get it up to 12 miles an hour, or, you know, whatever the lower.
Then there was
governor.
a suggestion here from this gentleman about the GPS enforcement, which I thought was pretty good, because we had put that in our master, you know, bike strategy. And the GPS enforcement was a good idea, you know, where are they going and how fast are they going? Are they going the wrong way? But they should also do that for everybody, you know.
But riding the blue city bikes is like pedaling peanut butter, just so you know.
Especially over a bridge.
Yeah, or for any long distance.
Can I ask Charlie? Not to put you on the spot, Charlie, but do you have any just not specifically this proposal, but do you have any discomfort with 16-year-olds on e-bikes? Is there anything inherent about it being an e-bike that does change your calculation?
Yeah, I mean, I have discomfort about some 60-year-olds on the white bikes and who don't follow the rules. And I mean, I don't know, my son's 10, ask me in 6 years, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you know, if you told me that this program would limit the white bikes to 12 or 15 miles an hour instead of 18 for minors, I think that'd be smart.
Yeah. Okay. So, no, go ahead, Christine.
One of my observation as a pedestrian is that once people are on an e-bike, they look extremely reluctant to stop.
When they're not on an e-bike.
When they're not on and
Oh, for me, it's the opposite, because
with me, it's the
it's on an e-bike, it's no problem to start back up.
I see people, well, I agree with that, but I see people on an e-bike and, oh my God, it looks like they are, you know, somebody's,
It's fair.
they are out of control.
There is something that I agree with that observation of people on e-bikes are a little bit more aggressive with like going through red, like violating various traffic rules because they can violate those rules more quickly and probably a little more safely for them, but maybe not as safely for everyone else. So
it's a little unnerving for, you know, I mean, recently I was crossing the street and the guy on the other side ran the red light and I was in the middle of this side and was coming at me. I mean, you know, and it was right. And so, but it's feeling like, you know, I don't want to stop. I just want to go, you know.
Clarify one quick thing, speed is not the issue. There's e-bikes and look everywhere.
Yeah.
Momentum.
The momentum, right.
Even if you're coming at 5 miles or 6 miles an hour.
So
the momentum is what actually hits you hard.
anyway, that experience is not, this is just the feeling I have when I look at the e-bikes and the people on normal bikes.
But
are we all in, okay, one more.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, I think the original rollout for this whole bike thing was a mess. Really, I think it was just thrown out and, you know, just went.
Let's see what happened.
Yeah, let's see what happens. I think there's an opportunity here to correct that with the new generation, as I mentioned
Right,
earlier.
I agree with
And I
that.
think it's something that should be
Yes.
taken very seriously now. The city needs to get involved with this, transportation department needs to get involved with this, so it needs to be more coordinated than it was other times.
Before.
And there needs to be more of a discussion as to all of these things that have been discussed here between economics and this and that and all of that.
I completely agree with that. And I just also want to say, like, what a sort of sad state of affairs it is that, you know, e-bikes aside, that the fact that we all also have to sort of debate, right, whether even this makes sense for the regular bikes, because we're so afraid of how pedestrians and bikers and cars are interacting on our streets. And so this is what I think I was trying to say before. It's just like this presentation actually presents us with a really good opportunity to reintroduce the city to what a safe bike culture could look like if the bike rollout had been done correctly. And so let's try this again before we just start expanding rapidly. Yeah.
So the resolution would be a letter to transportation alternatives saying, you know, there is potential with that, as we just said, right? But we need a lot more details behind that, and then put all the questions there and say, come back to see us. I mean, I think that's fair, right? Okay,
Motion.
are you okay, Jesse?
Yep, I'm okay with that. Great.
Motion,
I make motion.
okay? Second, all in favor? And then we do as usual, we circulate the letter, so you can add the language and make sure it's properly adjusted, okay, and so the next thing, district needs, Penn Station study, okay.
I just want to say a couple people with their hands up online. We had a big, long, open public session on the last topic, which is now closed. So if you were here to speak on the Citi Bike issue, that unfortunately the time has passed on that. But if you are here to speak on issues coming up, please hold on. Go ahead.
You don't want to hear that?
I do, I really do. I read it in full. It's great.
This is another way to do it, right? So Penn Station, as you know, they slowed down the project and now they are picking up the project again. And they are trying to do two projects, one which is the reconstruction and the other one which is expanding the capacity. And so they have reconvened a SWAG, which is a working group with a lot of groups and indeed the community boards. And we got a presentation and a report, and I should send the report to you. And the report essentially was the analysis of whether they could do under the current Penn Station or a through running and not take over the block 780. Okay, and two things came out of that. One, they said, we can't do it. None of that, which was a little of a, I think they started with that and then ended up. But what was fascinating is that they said that with through running, they could do 48 trains, which was their benchmark. But then they said, okay, but we need 8 trains to go back the other way. And there are multiple ways to do that. So I think our position right now is going to be to say, look, you said you could do it. And now you have 1 or 2 problems to resolve. And why don't you work on the problems rather than saying we can't do it? Because I mean, this is a major accomplishment that we got them to say we can do 48 trains per hour, which was the big yes.
I read something today actually, about these 48 trains per hour.
Right.
Where there's a bridge that comes out of Jersey that needs to be repaired.
Yes.
Unless you put 2 bridges in there, you're not gonna be able to get to 48 trains no matter what.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, because
If I can find it, I'll send it up to you.
yeah, please do. So anyway, this was a report which was a little, I would say, which had an ulterior motive. And I think now we need to exploit the fact that they told us they could do 48 and then work on that. And I will carry that message to the group next at the end of October.
The reports that they can't do it?
Yeah, the report goes through all the scenarios, which are 4, right? And each scenario say they can't do it for multiple reasons, that they made up. But one of them, which is the through running, say they can do 48, but because they need 8 trains to come back, they can't do it. And
what do you mean they need 8 trains to come back?
the New Jersey Transit sends trains to Penn Station. And generally, everybody has the train stay there or go to a yard, right? But in that case, they have a bunch of trains, maybe 4, maybe 8, which are really going back with travelers. Like if you want to go in the morning to Princeton, you would take that train to go back. So this is a revenue running train, right? And that train has to come back, therefore they said, well, because we have those trains coming back, we can't do it. And obviously there are 20 different ways to do it. But this was a little bit of the bias, we can do it, but we can't, right? So now we're going to work on the part where we say we can't and say, okay, let's explore, how do you do it, right? Yes.
Yeah, but I thought that the study that they did said they needed to expand either south, and then there's talk about expanding to the north possibly.
That's what I'm saying, is that because they concluded in that story that they cannot, in that study, that they cannot do each of the option, they have to expand, but they wanted to expand from the beginning.
Right. Yeah.
So now we have a half answer, which is positive. We need to work on the rest of that answer, and then if we would have that answer, then it would be feasible. But you know, up to now, they said, you can't do 48, that's why you can't do it. Now it's like, oh yeah, we can do 48, but a new excuse.
Right.
And we need to fight that. So that's where we are with Penn Station. Okay, statement of district needs. So you also the spreadsheets. Let's take the capital one. The good news is that we got a bunch of things done. You saw the green stuff, right? Should I put, oh, maybe I should put. You have those documents or not? Yeah.
Yeah, in the Dropbox.
So did you have any strong feeling about what should be number one, number two, number three? Yes.
Elevator.
Elevator is number one, definitely. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah,
There is one about enforcement of bike and mopeds.
that's in expenses. Look at your capital.
Capital right now.
Right.
Do you need to put in the super sidewalk from 51st to 34th? Is that,
Yeah, I was going to move it up
we
because,
hope they're doing it
yes,
already,
exactly,
but
exactly. So that would be number two, right?
Miriam had the idea, and I know she's on, so maybe she wants to say, but if we asked if we wanted to maybe add a request for like covers for the bus stops. I forget the word, but like the bad weather bus stop. You know, because we have so many of our stops are on shelters. There we go. That's a word.
Okay. Well, we can't put here anything we have not put in a resolution, right? So I think that's something that we should work on this year. It's like, let's work on the bus stop and the design, etc. That would be our next, you know, MTA stuff. Okay, so these are the two messages here. I was going to put the electric vehicles lower than that.
the green ones are the ones we've already got.
Yes. Yes. Okay, I'll reorganize that based on this. You don't want to waste too much. Then we have the expenses. The expenses is we have a lot.
Yeah.
And what does blue mean?
Blue was new this year.
Yeah.
New stuff from this year. So there are one or two things that I would like to put because they are part of the Port Authority mitigation. This is the last piece on the front page of expense, redirection of traffic from North Dyer Avenue. And the other one is signal timing on 9th Avenue. So these two things are part of the mitigation for the Port Authority. And I'd like DOT, they have to go to DOT to get the approval. And I'd like DOT to be aware that these are high priority for us. And then we can organize everything else and fine with everything else.
And the super
Makes sense. The
sidewalk.
other one that I wanted to find, did you mention the ADA compliant ramps?
They're done.
Those are done?
Yes.
Okay, good, because that would be a high priority.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
they have been a high priority for the last
Good, okay.
10 years, good, 15 years.
So super sidewalk is here as well.
Yeah, I know. I don't know whether it should be on the side, but I'll move it up to.
What about the requesting changes to the adjourning intersections on West 18th Street and the U-turns on 16th Street?
Yeah, we should put that pretty high. That's Chelsea, right?
I would say the top three that you already have here, I feel very strongly about all three of those, the daylighting, crosstown, bike lane.
And the 11th.
And the 11th, I mean, the rush
And you know,
hour.
crosstown, they're going to do it. I mean, we just heard from DOT that they're going to come and widen the crosstown on 37, 38, 38, 39. But we need more.
I would throw in 52 and 55 and
Right.
the other ones, I guess 26 and, or sorry, 25 and.
Yeah.
What's the other one? 26 and 29.
Okay,
are
yes.
In our district as well.
And how much would it be really, I don't know if this would be so expensive as to adjust the signal time on 9th Avenue?
No, but that's not probably, I don't know whether it's expensive, but that's something that we're on to put up because of the Port Authority mitigation. So I want to bring it up.
Okay.
So I don't know whether we put, you know,
Is that a green wave request or something else?
no, it's just
Number
avoiding
36.
congestion. Because they let everything come in.
Right.
And then it's pulling, you know,
Right.
slowing them down. And especially when they are doing construction of the Port Authority, it's
Right.
going to be chaos, so they need to do that anyway.
So this other one at the end, sidewalk study capacity. It's the last one, 34th, 30th to 30th Street. That's pretty good because the other day there was a vendor who had like a cooler in the sidewalk, so it was blocking forcing pedestrians either to a tree pit or onto the street.
Right.
For your suggestion, I contacted 311. They initially rejected it because they sent sanitation, but when they brought it to Jordan Finer, he got Dot involved.
You see, that's what you do.
And I see the service complaining.
Okay.
So there are issues with those sidewalks with the vendors. They removed it, so now it's a little better. Now what he does is takes a little more space with his car, but that's a whole nother.
Yeah, well, that one is because last year I didn't know whether it was capital or expense to do this project, so I did put it in both sides. Okay.
Going back to the bike and with the enforcement thing. I only see that on the
Because it's for NYPD, this one is more going to DOT.
yeah.
We should put that in a separate one for.
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
I only see that on like last year's, I don't see that on our draft for this year.
Yeah, I'll put it in.
Just wanna, yeah,
Okay, all right. Good
seems
input.
like very topical, given that we just had quite a few people show up to say, to talk about it, and this is not the first or the last meeting where people will. Because it is, you know, an issue with like, I'm not really convinced why people do it, but I would like to be on the record every year as saying they should do it.
The
The
double-edged sword there, I've seen this happen, because I'm biking from work like 6 in the morning. They'll send like massive enforcement people at 6 in the morning and nobody's out there.
Was that sanitation? No?
No, this is with the bikes.
The bike speed trap, that's
Speed
just,
traps.
Oh, really?
Or like 6 in the morning, like I got stopped in Chinatown, one day, and like, it turned out I was going through yellow, not even, it was 6 in the morning, that's not, and I said to the guy, look, I understand what you're doing, I agree, I'm glad that you're there. The timing is when the rush hour is not.
8 to 10, right?
Or whatever the hours might be. One 80-year-old guy read in street blogs, was stopped at 5 in the morning. I mean, for going past the red light, I mean, so we have to be very precise and say, okay, we need to do.
It's useless.
Rush hour,
You tell me, no, you tell them what you want. Look, at 34 and 9. I have constant fight with the cop there, the agents. First, she waves all the cars in the bus lane. All of them. Then there is a new bike lane which goes like, and she has installed a barricade in front of the bike lane, and therefore the people are going into the pedestrian space. So I arrived, I picked the barricade and I moved it over. and we started to have a shouting match, which is absolutely unbelievable, it should really will be, but, you know, they don't have, I don't know what is their education, there should be a retraining for all these people.
Teaching enforcement, I mean.
Yeah, so anyway, let's not talk too much about that, this is my,
This is the budget ask and separate
Right.
question.
So I'll,
Yeah, they're gonna get handcuffed.
right, all right, I guess I got your ideas.
Yeah.
We'll merge it and send it again, okay. Jesse, any suggestion for the budget, you good?
I'm good.
Okay. That's it,
Good
motion to adjourn,
one.
right?
Sorry, Christine, did you guys vote on the budget?
Just
I need a vote count on the budget.
Yeah, we did that.
no.
Yeah,
Did we
I'm
actually
sorry.
vote? Did we actually vote to adopt the budget?
Oh, we have to vote on the budget.
Yeah, you have to vote on it. Thanks, Jesse.
Voting on the comments you made and what is going to come out of that.
Good.
I make motion.
Yes,
Second that motion.
Okay.
okay,
Great.
sorry, thank you, Janine, to keep us in check.
Before we adjourn, we also, sorry, we've had a hand raised in the attendees. I don't know, Robin. I'm not sure if she was.
I'm bringing Robin over.
Him or hers. Sorry.
So I can move to. Wait a second.
This first
Hi, hello?
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I came to meeting really late. So you had said that there was a question. People were asking questions about the teenage bike situation.
But yeah, we already had a presentation and a long committee discussion, including comments from the public for about 30 minutes.
Oh, okay. So I can't.
No, unfortunately, the time for
comment
on that.
Okay.
Thank you, though.
Sure. All right. Well,
But feel free to still submit. You know, we always take written testimony, so feel free to still submit that to our office.
Okay. Where would I?
To Jesse Bodine.
Jesse Bodine on our website. You can find it on the Manhattan CB4 website.
Oh, okay. All right. Thanks.
No
And
Obviously not a fan of the situation of the 15-year-olds getting bikes. All right. Have a good night. Thanks.
No problem.
Thank you. I received about 10, we received about 10 emails.
And we should have mentioned that. I hopefully a lot of them are in the Dropbox already, but yeah, we received a number of emails today.
Right.
Closed.
Okay. Miriam has her hand up. You want Miriam, can you speak?
I already raised the bus stop thing, so.
I'm not clear if that is going to be considered or tabled. I wasn't clear what Christine meant.
Miriam, it will be considered, we will have a separate committee meeting on it.
Okay.
But thanks for the idea.
It's not just shelters. Not all stops have benches either.
Yeah.
We'll put it on for another committee.
Okay.
Thanks. Okay, motion to adjourn again.
Again. Bye. Get
Everyone, I'm
well.
sorry I couldn't be there in person tonight, everyone.
Jesse, I'm leaving you the
Hopefully I'll
book
be
I
there.
promised you a couple of months ago.
What's that?
I promised you a book a couple of months ago. I'm leaving it here. You'll get it whenever you come by. On the Middle East.
I trust you, I did make up that
I didn't know
$6 number like out of thin air. I
Which
did.
number? Yeah. But
That you asked for 3 months ago.
But
On the
I
middle.
think students,
You probably asked him.
if you.
Hey, everyone, I will be shutting off the Zoom now.
Yeah,
Have a good
there's too
night.
much crosstalk. I can't hear.